Teachers, did you know that Google just made 4 powerful AI features absolutely free? And trust me, you'll want to start using them today. In this quick tutorial, I'll show you how to use GEMS, deep research, Canvas, and personalization to supercharge your teaching. First up is GEMS. Think of GEMS as your own custom AI assistant. Now, ChatGPT has a similar feature called custom GPTs, but these are behind a paid wall. Google has just made GEMS absolutely free. So let's take a look. So to find GEMS, click on the little diamond icon down in the bottom left called the Gem Manager. And here it'll open up some demo gems that were already made by Google. We have Chess Champ, Brainstormer, Career Guide, and a Code Partner. To create your own gem, just click New Gem. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to name your gem. You can name this anything you'd want, but I like to name it after the class that I'm teaching. So for this, I'm teaching my English class. So I'll just name it English 1. Now here, you're going to give the gem custom instructions. Here you want to give it instructions about how the tone or how you want it to output information. But if you're not sure what to write, let me show you a trick to get Gemini to write for you. So I need to type something. So here I want to do maybe generate quizzes and lesson plans. So once I start typing, this option enables. So this is GEM's rewrite feature. So if I click this, Gemini is going to perform its magic and rewrite these instructions in much more detail. All right, here we go. So here I can see the purpose and the goal. So the goal here is to assist users in improving their English language skills by generating quizzes and lesson plans. Behavior. Now, normally I would go through this carefully and I would edit and customize it more for my students. But for now, let's just leave it as it is. Now, probably the most important part of GEMS is the knowledge base. So here you can add up to 10 files that Gemini or this custom gem will refer to before it outputs information. So here I'll just click plus. I can add directly from my Google Drive, I can add files from my computer, or I can upload an image. So in this case, I'm going to add my textbook. So now, whenever I ask Gemini or this custom gem a question, it's going to read my textbook and give me an answer. So I can test it over here, but let's just save this. And let's use the real version. So now my gem is ready. So here I can ask any kind of questions about my text. So here I'll ask it to maybe create a, let's say, 50-minute lesson plan for Chapter 5. Hit enter. And now Gemini is going to read my textbook, and it's going to give me a simple 50-minute lesson plan based on my textbook. But the great thing is that I can double check by clicking these arrows here. I can double check, say, look, this is where it referred to, or the file that it referred to when it was producing this information. And those are GEMS. All right, next up is Gemini Deep Research. So think of Deep Research as your academic AI research assistant. Now, the great thing about Gemini Deep Research over just using Google is that it's going to quickly scour the web for cited, reliable academic sources to support your research. And as a bonus, it's going to output that information in the form of an academic research paper. So let's take a look how to use it. Now, the first thing is, I don't know exactly how to word my research. So let's say that I'm researching, are AI resistant assessments, are they actually helping students? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a research question about, are AI resistant assessments improving student learning? So I'm going to ask Gemini to help me write my research question. So I'm going to click submit. Great, and it's giving me a few specific research questions. So here, to what extent do AI resistant assessment strategies influence student learning outcomes? I like that one. I could go a little bit more specific, but for today, I'm just going to copy this one. Now, I'm going to need to start a new chat because I've disabled the deep research button by starting a chat. So I'm going to click new chat, and then I'm going to click deep research. So before I let you know, Gemini Deep Research is free. However, I'm not really sure how many times we can use it per month. I'll let you know if Google updates on that information. So I'm going to click enter or submit. All right. So now this is pretty cool. So what it's doing is it's showing us exactly what it's going to do before it does it. So here it says it's going to research websites, right? It's going to search for definitions and examples. It's going to find research studies and so on and so on. However, one of the great things about this is I can click edit plan, and then I can go back and I can customize these instructions even more. Now, what I've done in the past is I've taken these instructions, I've thrown them into ChatGPT, and I've asked ChatGPT, how can I improve upon these research instructions? But for now, we're just going to leave it as it is. So I don't want to make any changes. So I'm just going to type no changes. And then now Gemini is going to start its deep research. And we're back. Gemini took about 5 minutes to finish this report. Now, can you imagine reading 70, 80 academic papers and writing a report in 5 minutes? I can't. So let's take a look what we have. So we have the influence of AI resistant assessment strategies on student learning outcomes academic paper. It's broken up into sections, which is fantastic. Here we go. I have some recommendations for educators. I have recommendations for institutions. Love that. I've got a table that outlines the most important information. God, I hated when I did my doctorate degree. I absolutely hated creating tables. This has done it for me. Okay, and then it shows me all the sources. So I could easily click on the sources that it used in the paper. However, it also shows me the sources that it did not use in the paper. So if I wanted to find further information, I could look at those as well. And then at the very bottom, it's going to show me its thoughts or what it was thinking while it was doing the research. So I can easily talk to or ask questions about this research paper by typing directly here into Gemini, or I can export this into Docs by clicking this button, and it will come out right here. So here I have it. And the great thing is, if you have Google Docs, you have Gemini built in. So I can, again, talk to my paper and pull out information. For example, if I'm creating another YouTube video about AI resistant assessments, make sure you check it out right here. Or if I want to pull out information for my classes or my own research. And that's deep research. Next up is by far my favorite new feature for Google Gemini. It's called Canvas. Now, you might already know that Canvas is available for ChatGPT, but I believe it's only available for paid users. And it's something that I use all the time. So I was really excited to see that Google implemented in Google Gemini. So let's take a look how to access it. So we have the little Canvas icon down the bottom. We're going to click that. Now, remember that lesson plan we made in our Gem earlier? Well, let's use that. So I'm going to tell the Gemini to open in Canvas, and then I'm going to paste that lesson plan in here, and I'm going to hit submit. So now it's going to open up into Canvas where we can make some edits. So right away, you see that we've got a whole new layout. So up the top in the right side, we have some text editing features. So you can go in here and you can make manual edits. I can bold this text, just like a very basic text editor. On the left is where we add our prompts to ask Gemini to make specific edits. Now, the great thing about Canvas is that you can make specific edits to only parts of my lesson plan. I don't have to worry about Gemini going back and rewriting everything and giving me a completely different output. So let's take a look at what else we can do. So let's say that I want to edit this warm-up. So I'm going to highlight it. And now I have the option to ask Gemini to make a specific edit. So let's make something. So let's say create 5 warm-up questions. Hit enter. And now you will see, perfect. Now notice that it didn't go back and rewrite anything else. It just focused on where I highlighted. Now, something else we have option to do is over here. I can change the length of my output. I can change the tone. Or here, what's really fun is Gemini will suggest edits for my lesson plan. So I'm going to click that. All right, so when I scroll down, I can see a few specific edits here. Consider adding a choral repetition, elaborate on vocabulary blanks, and so on and so on. So to make these changes, all I have to do is click apply, and Gemini will do all the work for me. Perfect. So that is one of the ways, and probably the most useful way, that I use Canvas every day. I'm going to show you another way to use Canvas that probably wasn't possible before for teachers who don't know much about coding. Have you ever thought about creating an app that you could use for your class, but you were afraid that learning to code might be too difficult? Well, guess what? With AI, you don't need to know how to code anymore, and you can pretty much create whatever you want. So here I could create a custom quiz, make it interactive for my class, or in this case, I'm going to create a custom timer to help my students study. Now, my daughter loves to use the Pomodoro method when she studies. So let's create a custom Pomodoro timer that she can put on her MacBook on the screen while she's studying. So let's take a look. So I'm going to just click the Canvas button again, and I'm going to say code a Pomodoro timer. Now I'm going to code this as a web app so she can download it and then she can just click on it and open it in Chrome or Safari as a web app. And the canvas will pop open and it'll begin to code. Perfect. And now it's done. And now I have my own Pomodoro timer. Now here's the preview window so I can test it. So click start and there it goes. I can reset. And I can even change the length of the break time. What if I want to share this with my students so they can put on their laptops or their computers in the computer lab? Well, that's actually pretty easy too. However, it's a little trickier with a Mac. I'll upload a screen record of me doing this on a Windows computer as well. But first, let's take a look at how to do it on a Mac. The first thing you're going to want to do is go back to the code window. So come back to the code window up here, click code, and then over here, you're going to click copy. Now, on a Mac, you need one extra step. Unfortunately, you're going to need to download some kind of code editor. Now, I've downloaded one called Sublime Text. Now that we have Sublime Text open, all we have to do is press Command V and copy our code in here. And then we just have to save it to our desktop. So I'm going to click File, Save As. I'll just call this timer. And notice that it's saving as an HTML file. That's very important. Otherwise, this code is not going to work. I'll save it to my desktop. I have the Pomodoro timer here. All I'm going to do is double click on it. It's going to open up in Chrome or Safari, and I have my timer. So I can click start. And now it's going to count down for 25 minutes. And when it hits 0, my break time is going to start. And that's how you can code any kind of simple web app in seconds. Let me know down in the comments what kind of apps that you would like to create with Gemini Canvas. So I'm back here on my Windows computer now, and I'm going to show you how to create the timer on your desktop. All you have to do here is right-click and click New, and then choose Text Document. So I'm going to open up the text document, and I'm going to Control-V and paste it on my text. And just like in Sublime Text, I'm going to save as, and I'm going to go say timer.html. And again, that's very important to save it as an HTML file. I'll save it on my desktop, click Save. I'll close this out, and then here it is. Now I have my HTML file. I double click, and there's my timer. And it works just the same on Windows as it does on Mac. Just a little easier. You don't have to download a editing program. Last up is Gemini's new personalization model. So to access it, come up here to Gemini 2.0, click, and here it is right under Deep Research, Personalization. Now, what this means is that Gemini now has access to your Google search history. So what would you use this for? Well, now it knows what I'm interested in. So I can get more personalized outputs every time I use it. So the more I use Google or the more I use Gemini personalization, the more personalized my results are going to be. So for example, if I ask, what do you know about me? And now it's going to look through my search history and tell me what it knows about me. So here it says, I'm a professionally or experienced educator, 20 years experience. You have interest in several areas. You're passionate about mentoring, curriculum design, instruction, technology outside your professional life. You're looking at education and university admissions. My daughter's heading to Canadian University this year. So her and I were searching for Canadian universities. I'm also into gaming, AI exploration, and so on and so on. So again, by using personalization, Every time you use it, it's becoming more customized to you. So what would you use personalization for? And there you have it. 4 powerful new features that are absolutely free to supercharge your teaching. Let me know down in the comments, which new feature would you like to try? And if you'd like this video, you'll definitely like this one.